What is the quality when you think of a leader that comes to your mind? And so as we start to discuss leadership, I want you to think of the qualities that you want to improve in yourself. What qualities do you think you would like to get better at? And so as we start thinking about this today, we're going to dive more and more into it. And so as we're talking about ACPN, the Association of Certified Professional Nutritionists, and applying leadership in the wellness industry, I want to start first with the principle that leaders focus on wellness. Leaders have an absolute focus on health and nutrition. Can we all agree that if you're in the hospital, attached to respirators, on life support, it's very difficult to lead other people? Can we agree to that? Absolutely. In fact, it's interesting, I was back in my sales days that I was holding my stomach and just complaining of so much pain. And one of my colleagues says, "That's your appendix." I say, no, this is before my bodybuilding days. I say, no, that's just McDonald's. I had some McDonald's, I've got some indigestion. That's all it is. I just have a tummy ache. My friend says, no, right there, that's your appendix. You've got to go to the hospital. I say, no, it's not my appendix. I've just had some indigestion. It'll be fine. And my friend says, look, that's your appendix where you're holding. And if your appendix ruptures, people have died from that. You need to go to the hospital. Well, I'll tell you, one way to get my attention, just mention death. That gets my attention right away. And so I turned to all my colleagues in my sales organization and I said, I'm sure this will be fine, but okay, I'll go to the hospital, but folks, I'll be back by lunchtime. And I was back by lunchtime. 2 weeks later, after emergency surgery to remove my appendix that was about to explode. My point of the story is, as I was being wheeled into emergency surgery, I had my cell phone and I'm phoning all of my partners, all of my colleagues and clients saying, cancel everything, I'm going into emergency surgery. All of a sudden, all of my business priorities were no longer very important. All of my social get-togethers, hey, let's get together for a barbecue or a movie, all of that got canceled. Because now my life was on the line. Can we all agree that if we don't take care of our health, we can't be in the position to inspire other people? Does that make sense? So we want to set the example of leadership with the foundational principle, let's take care of our health and inspire others to do the same. It's interesting that I began my own health and wellness journey 17 years ago. In fact, 17 years ago, I just come through career burnout. I'd been working 100, 105 hours a week. I was absolutely exhausted, incredibly sick, and all of my colleagues were like, man, you need to take a break. This is not going to be good for you. And I sat down for the very first time in August of 2004, almost 17 years ago now, middle of August 2004, and I met a man who would become one of my greatest friends. His name is Tom Kiatipis. And Tom was a high school phys ed teacher and a competitive bodybuilder. He was a fitness coach, and he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger, just huge muscles. And he would always be eating fruit and vegetables and just had rippling veins and muscles. This guy could bench press a freight train. He was incredible. And I sat down. I'm 5'8", and in 2004 I was 29 years of age, and I weighed 120 pounds. So that's very slim. That's like when I was back in high school, if it got really windy, the wind would just blow me into the lockers because I was so slim. I needed to put on some muscle. So my coach, now one of my best friends, I sit down to meet this guy and I say, Tom, I need to improve my health and wellness. I'm spending too much time in the hospital. I can't inspire and lead my sales teams. It's affecting my career. It's affecting everything in my life. I've got to improve my health. And so he starts working me, and he puts me on a diet of healthy food and an exercise regimen. And in 90 days of time, I put on 27 pounds of muscle. I added 27 pounds of muscle, and I dropped down to 6% body fat and started competing in and winning awards in bodybuilding contests. Now, some of you are looking at me thinking, this guy doesn't look that big. Well, I was competing in lightweight contests, so like little guys, okay? But I was starting to compete in these fitness contests. Fast forward 17 years later. Tom is the godfather of my son, one of my best friends, and yet again, I'm in a fitness contest with Tom. Now, because of COVID-19, it's all over the internet, it's all virtual right now. But I want you to think about this. He's inspired me, and I started to pursue excellence in my own physical fitness. And over the course of the last 17 years, Tom has inspired thousands and thousands and thousands of people to pursue excellence in their health and wellness, nutrition, and exercise. Because Tom is a leader. If you don't have your health, you've got nothing. Fast forward to this afternoon, as I was preparing for my time together with you today, reviewing these notes, getting my mind in the right headspace to share with you and serve you today. And I had 2 events happen within a couple of hours today that I had no idea would happen. The first one was my 13-year-old getting ready to start high school. So I see we've got a lot of students. You guys look about ready for high school. Getting ready for high school right here? No? You look right there. You look like you're ready for high school. Yeah, or university. University, something college? Okay. Maybe I'm bad at guessing ages. but you look sharp in your suit, buddy. You look really sharp in that suit. So my 13-year-old is getting ready for high school. And he comes to me, and I'm now posting all of my fitness stuff on Facebook. And I'm in this fitness contest. And my son says, "Dad, can you help me get in shape in time for high school in September?" And I felt really excited about that because my example was starting to inspire him. And so he gets on the treadmill, and I'd done 20 minutes this morning, and my son goes for 21 minutes and puts it on Facebook. He says, "Dad, film it. I did more than you on the treadmill." And he says, "I want you to post it on Facebook and tell all your friends that I beat you." You know what? I was happy to do so. And what was really neat was my example was starting to inspire him. But my example came because my fitness coach 17 years ago set the example and has followed through every year for 17 years. So my son being inspired to want to improve himself today, I can trace it right back to my coach because my coach was exhibiting leadership. That's the one of the 2 stories, the first story. 2 hours later, my wife gets a telephone call that one of her very good friends has cancer in her liver, cancer in her lungs, and is not expected to survive. Right in the middle of COVID. So she doesn't have COVID, but this is obviously in the middle of COVID. And there's no chance that this friend of hers that she's had as a friend since she was 16 is going to survive. And my wife is heartbroken right now. And it was interesting as I was traveling over here thinking about the contrast between the 2 lives. This lady, who's incredibly ill, this good friend of my wife, has such a caring heart. She's got such a spirit of wanting to volunteer and wanting to serve, and she has such a kind spirit. And very soon, she will not be able to share her special kind spirit with the world because she chose not to exhibit leadership in her own health and wellness. You can have the most incredible intellect. You can have the most incredible artistic ability. You can be one of the best athletes or have an entrepreneurial mind that could change the world, but you have to take care of your health in order to serve all of the rest of the community. Does that make sense? So as we begin to look at leadership with our health and wellness, what we want to do is understand some of the principles of leadership so that we can start to inspire those around us. 5 levels of leadership.